Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation of the iLeague Season 3 Dota 2 Chinese qualifiers. Here we've got Newbee versus Tongfu.WZ, and we're going to be seeing these two teams go at it in a best of two or a two-game series, however you want to call it. It's just going to be these two games to wrap it up for me here on Beyond the Summit. It's been a nice couple of games coming in for me home. They were able to 2-0 their opponents there, Braveheart. But Braveheart honestly aren't the strongest team in the groups. So it's definitely something that a lot of people expected, and it just kind of goes out to its conclusion here. We're wrapping up 6.83. We're talking a lot in chat about 6.84, and I am pumped about it. But still a little wary about where the changes will bring us. I don't want super OP every single game Necrophos, even though he's a fun hero to watch. But you know,
10 seconds.
One of the guys asked me real quick to go for some crazy theory craft while the draft is going on. I'll spend 30 seconds on it, and then I'll move into the draft of the game itself. But essentially, I'm thinking Necrophos going for his orb. What is it called? The Ocarine Orb or whatever it is. Getting one of those, and getting the Guardian Greaves. Ocarine Orb and Guardian Greaves on the Necrophos. And then giving him an Aghanim Scepter maybe from the Alchemist or something, but that's a extra luxury that you don't even need to have. If he just goes for Ocarine Guardian Greaves, he's already like the tankiest, craziest healer, damage healer ever, and it's just going to be so difficult to bring him down. If you ban out AA and you pick up Necrophos and you get Guardian that on him, I just don't know. It's insane, but we'll get into this game. We'll talk about some 6.83 action for the remainder of today and over the next few days. I'm sure it'll be a little while before the patch comes online competitively. But Newbee versus Tongfu.WZ, another matchup that I would say has a clear favorite in Newbee, but this one I think is a lot closer. I think Tongfu.WZ still at least have some real potential to upset Newbee. They've kind of had their ups and downs, and looking for a good draft from Banana to really put them back in a good way. But looking at the bans initially, we see the Troll, Sniper, Storm, and Bat banned out, your traditional Chinese Dota Tier 1 bans. And then we're going to see the Lina, the Ancient Apparition, banned out from the side of Newbee. So Chen and Axe got taken off the board for Phase 2 as well. But what we have when it all comes down to it is Shadow Fiend, Rubik as the opener for Newbee. Pretty confident in their potential to roam with the Rubik and steal from two amazing heroes to steal from, Queen of Pain and Earthshaker. The Shadow Fiend was the first pick, Qualp and Earthshaker the second two. So Rubik is a direct response to those two. You can steal Blink, steal a Fisher. Everything else is just a nice spell that still is really cool. Lion is also pretty good target, so I think the Tongfu's general strategy against this Rubik is going to be to flood the board with a lot of good spells and say, okay, well, you can only steal one or two. It'll backfire if the Rubik's able to farm an Aghanim Scepter, but as unlikely as that is, I think they're just going to go ahead and throw out all the juicy spells and just say, take what you will, we'll try to deal with it anyways, and it should work out okay. I mean, right now, Earthshaker, Lion, very active in the early laning stage, either Earthshaker pulling back the waves to make it so that the fight comes to them under their tower, or the Lion with his roaming and ganking potential as one of the Tier 1 supports. Venge, not even considered here, but I think Newbee will pick up Venge 4th if they want to run the Rubik as a 4 position. Venge 4 position isn't really good. Getting her farm doesn't really mean all that much. Medallion of Courage is probably the only item you really want on that hero. So I could see running the Vengeful Spirit as a 5 position, running Rubik as a 4, and getting him that Aghanim Scepter gradually. But we'll see if that's the strat. For now, Lion or Shaker could be an offlane Shaker, could be a support, but they're going up against a Tide. So Lion doesn't want to have to solo zone a target hero here, and it's going to be Beastmaster offlane for that reason. That makes sense. So whether or not they had the intention of trying out offlane Shaker before, the problem against Tide is Kraken Shell is just so good against Lion. Breaking out of Earthspike or Hex really changes how you're ganking this hero and how you're zoning this hero, and you need an extra buddy. You can't just have like Enigma go off in the jungle and do his own thing forever. You have to kind of get involved against this Tide and be more active and aggressive in zoning him out. So the Shaker should be able to accomplish just that, because anytime this Tide steps forward, he's worried about getting caught out by the Fisher. That's something that you can't crack and shell away, as something blocking your path of retreat. So in this case here, I think that it's going to be a pretty good support duo along with the Beastmaster offlane. I don't think they'll go for a Tinker strat with that Beastmaster. I think it's just mostly for lockdown here. They get the Zoo, they get the split push. They might go for the PL though. They're going to leave the Juggernaut in the pool. I think they'll pick up a Phantom Lancer, if they are up against a jug. But like I said, Newbee could look for, will probably save their core hero for last. They'll probably go and pick up like the Vengeful Spirit or a support along those lines and kind of play reactively. The cool thing about Venge is whenever you get roared by the Beastmaster, you just swap that person back and they're fine. And you still get all those amplifying effects from the Wave of Terror and the Vengeance Aura. Lycan's going to be the pickup though. I thought they might go for one of their cores, and Juggernaut, Lycan, that's some good stuff. So here we are in the final banning stage, and it's hard to say what to take off the board. I'm going to stand by the Vengeful Spirit for Tongfu.WZ. They already took out the Chen, so they don't have to worry about that. I would say, yeah, the Venge seems like the appropriate ban here. But what do Newbee want to ban? What do Tongfu.WZ want to last pick for their carry? They don't really want to go for a Juggernaut up against a Lycanthrope. It's not ideal. Huh. That's a tough one, because you're looking at a target that's moving around really quickly. Naga Siren would be great, but it's just, I don't know if she suits the tempo that Tongfu.WZ are looking for. Like, if they're looking to rat, if they're looking to spread the map, Naga Siren would be really nice here. And would it be able to ensnare the Lycan so that he's not able to run away at that crazy fast movement speed. That being said, it's not always the best pick.
5 seconds remaining.
There are some real limits. They do ban out the Phantom Lancer that I thought was going to be going in this lineup here. And it's probably something they could not really deal with. Anchor Smash is probably the best tool they have against that. And they do go for the Tinker Strat. Okay, so I mentioned it because there is always the possibility, but in this case it felt like they might be lacking a carry if they go for the Tinker. But what they're going to be doing is safe lane farming the Tinker, mid farm the Queen of Pain, and they're going to be using the Tinker to boots of travel to the Beastmaster Hawk. This will allow him to get further into jungles, like his own jungle or even the enemies, get extra farm for the March Machines, find new opportunities to go for kills, and when heroes blink in, like the Queen of Pain naturally, or if Lion gets a Blink Dagger pretty early, then Tinker's going to start to be really involved in getting kills. Laser, rockets, doing really good damage, and then Lion will be able to finish it off, or Queen of Pain will be able to. You'll be able to pretty much set up any kill that the Beastmaster can get a roar on. Like, essentially, if you see a Primal Roar, that's probably a dead hero, just based on the fact that the Tinker is going to be lurking nearby. The other really cool aspect of this strategy is that as soon as the Tinker gets his BOTs, maybe a Blink Dagger, he's going to be into the jungle and into ganking lanes, so that the Lion can focus on his safe lane farm. So Earthshaker's going to be roaming a lot. He's going to be trying to build himself up very gradually, playing a 5 position. Xinkyu on the Lion is going to be just kind of doing the support stuff early on, but then transitioning into a hero that actually gets some good farm. And looking forward to see that a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and just go through the rosters. A lot of you guys don't know Tongfu.WZ. I'm kind of familiar with them. I'm pretty comfortable with their play style, but we've got Bingo offlane Beastmaster, Xinkyu, actually swapping over the Tinker. I was like, wait a second, he doesn't play the support, but there you go. Xinkyu, Tinker, Sayaka on the Lion, Waisik will be running on the Queen of Pain. Yes, I know these are not the proper pronunciations because I've never heard anybody else try to pronounce these names, so you kind of just have to wing it as a caster. DDR is going to be playing the Earthshaker here. Then Bingo's already got his Hawk scouting out so he can get this ward up. Alright, so what are we looking at here? Banana is going to be running on the support Nyx Assassin, really good against Tinker with the March Machines being stunned out by the Carapace. You can do that to Missile too if you want. Moo is going to be running on his mid Shadow Fiend. Very, very strong in this hero. A lot of respect given to his potential on the lane. This guy just is able to rock it. He really is. Moo's going to even get a 30 gold. He doesn't get Necromaster stacks because he's raising it, but yeah, he kills off a Hawk, gets 30 gold, and he's going to get the Bounty Rune for an extra 100. Rabbit's here on the Lycan, looking for probably an early Vladimir's offering. Curious if and when he goes for the Roshan. Some real potential for them to kind of create space by pushing out the lanes, and then for him to go for the Rosh, but the Hawk vision always lurking makes it very risky. If you get scouted out, it can be a really big risk to take. But anyways, that's your top lane there, as we do see, of course, Sansheng on his Rubik blocking up the top wave. and that will leave us to June on the offlane Tide. He plays a decent amount of Tide, but his win rate isn't actually that great. It's about 50-50 on this hero. We've seen some really good Tide plays from him, and we've seen some pretty poor ones, so it just comes down to really execution from him. He's going to be zoned back pretty well just from laser and that kind of stuff, but he's not really looking to get involved. He's got Kraken Shell level 1. He just wants to survive and get that experience. In the meantime, Queen of Pain, who usually would have a nice advantage in the first part of this matchup, is actually kind of offset a little bit because the Nyx went for the level 1 mana burn. So what the Nyx is going to do is essentially a pseudo babysit the Shadow Fiend. He's going to be going in, mana burning the Quap, and then stacking camps. Looks like he failed the timing on that stack. It's obviously now blocked off, so he's going to make his way up top. There's no real value in mana burning the Beastmaster, though. You multiply his intelligence by, is it 3.5 for level 1? Yeah, 3.5. It's not that much damage. So Bingo's not going to be too worried about it. And actually they're trying to de-ward this. They think this camp was blocked off by a ward, but most likely it was just a Greater Hawk scouting on top of it, and that manually body blocks it. So there's a lot of things the Beastmaster can do with summons, and in this case it ends up wasting a Sentry Ward because his Observer is right over here. Another possibility is he just started moving back when Banana moved forward, and he says, oh, he probably has vision of me. But again, the Hawk can pull some shenanigans. Anywho, we've got Sayaka hiding here, looking for an opportunity to zone out the Tide, but Tide is actually trying to duel it out for the 2-minute rune spawn. DDR fighting it back and forth, but it looks like he's going to claim it in the end. June could bully him back here a bit, but doesn't work out. Invis goes to DDR, which really doesn't matter too much because neither one really can take advantage of that rune. If it was a bounty or a regen, haste maybe, something different. Low armor Rubik taking some hits from Bingo here. It's kind of hard for him to trade hits with the boar. I mean, it's piercing damage, so it doesn't really hurt the Rubik that much, only 75% to heroes, but it still is really frustrating, and whenever he's trading hits with the boar, Beastmaster has the chance to move forward. Because this Nyx being only level 1, and them knowing about the mana burn, means that Banana can essentially contribute nothing until he pulls up to level 2. Also, how about those last hits for you guys? Sorry about the sorting order on that. But right now we're seeing, topping out the charts at 17 and 7, Shinkyu on the bottom lane. BOT is going to be coming out here about the 8-minute mark maybe. I have seen him go even faster. I think I've seen 6.5-minute BOTs from him once. That's pretty absurd though. You have to get like first blood on top of that. Seek on the mid lane, going to be dueling out with Moo, but Moo holding his own pretty well in the early stages here. There is going to be June hanging out as well, but mostly to get a little bit of experience, not much more. Top here, they're going to see the telekinesis lift back onto Bingo. Rough position for him, and a lot of body blocks coming through. He decides to go for the east, but he's not that fast. He will be run down by the Boots Lycan, and that's going to be first blood to Rabbit, who's going to be able to get a really fast Vlad's Trez opener. I'm curious if at some point you get your early gold so fast that you consider going for BOTs. It's an old build, but it really is one of the better ones in terms of getting the map presence and split push on. The problem is you have counter BOTs from the Tinker, and those are on like a 0-second cooldown with rearm. Pull number 1 coming through here, going to be doubled up if possible, but I think the boar is going to be summoned to disrupt it as soon as Bingo knows what's going on. So as long as he uses the boar properly, he should be able to negate Banana's pull here, and that means it's going to push out the lane.
Double damage.
Yeah, see, look right here, Banana's going for it, but little boar in the mix of things. Hello, Satyr. Oh, he doesn't get it. The Satyr actually stays, but the little hill troll berserker lives too long because of heals. So either way, it's a single pull, and these 3 creeps will push out the top lane, as these ones will die under tower, and now it's a double wave coming in from Newbee. So that's going to be really good for the Beastmaster. Moving up to level 4.5, he's going to be looking pretty strong for his early mid-game stride. But obviously level 6 is the true objective for him. And I have absolutely no idea what to think of that new Nyx thing, the lurker tunneling. It's a cool idea, but I really have absolutely no idea how effective that is. That's the kind of thing where you read it and it sounds really cool, but you have absolutely no idea how powerful it is until you actually play it. You get to feel the range of that impale and that mana burn and such like that. But I mean, a lot of the stuff sounds good. It's very creative at the very least. Like, people will be like, oh, I copied the lurker, Ice Frog please, but really, I would have to say that there's a lot more to the Nyx than just a lurking attribute. He kind of just copied the insect idea as a whole, and try to do something unique with it, and I think it's pretty cool. So we're going to be seeing here the Vlad's opener plus treads from Rabbit, no surprise. We'll see him probably go for the early Roshan, and we'll see if Tongfu scouts it out in time. But early BOTs coming out. Xinkyu way above that first measurement that I was talking about. I thought that it would be before 8 minutes, but he's actually going right for that record again, that 6.5 minute mark that he got previously. He's just ridiculous farming on the safe lane. And of course, up against the Tide, he's pretty much gotten free farm, but he's still been just so consistent in this natural farming state. We do see June covering up the bottom rune, Queen of Pain covering up the, or sorry, Queen of Pain going for the top, but Shadow Fiend getting the double raise and snatching the boundary rune for himself. So it's going to be hasted. Tide, he'll get level 3, but he's not doing nearly as well as the Beastmaster is. Beastmaster just hit level 5 with an experience per minute of 237. Tide's down here at 88. That's a really sad time for Mr. Tidehunter. Ancient stacks, it looks like he does have a double stack here, and just a single for the side of the Beastmaster, but Tide's got to hit like level 5 at least, if not 6 or 7, before he starts tapping into those Ancients, and it just, I don't really think that that's going to be that big of a rebound for him right now. Speaking of, though, Shadow Fiend going to be looking to build up his net worth here, make up for lost ground a little bit. He's already leading against the Queen of Pain, but clearing out that big stack, he's going to be feeling pretty good. And that leaves Sansheng to take the mid lane for a little bit and get Rubik to that faster level 6. If you look at the net worth right now, it's dead even between the Nyx and the Rubik. So I am really curious who's going to be taking that farm. Nyx would love a Blink Dagger, Rubik would love a Blink and an Ag Scepter. And Bingo is actually in a really bad off spot here. He will get hit by the Impale. There is going to be a Fissure to disrupt things a little bit. And the Sonic Wave actually going to connect onto Rabbit here. A lot of people don't realize, but that cone has a really large distance, if not the biggest radius. And as a result, Seek will be able to combo it up onto the Lycan, dropping the 564 damage hammer and bringing him down during Shapeshift. Xinkyu, soul ringing it up. He's just kind of bouncing around, farming these camps. It looks like he's stacked those up nicely for himself, or maybe some dutiful supports have taken care of it. In either case, putting the BOTs to work, and he already has the soul ring plus bottle. In fact, he's, okay, he didn't go for the bottle. That's Seeks, which he was filling up at the base. Cool stuff. Anything else to note? Tide catching up to level 5. Beastmaster probably looking for their next kill. I mean, he could just go out and roar somebody, and you can at least have 2 heroes there. I mean, another Queen of Pain rotation maybe. Definitely a Tinker BOTs. But look at the Tinker's skill build. He doesn't really bring that much kill potential right now. 4 March of the Machines is mostly farm focused. He'll throw out missiles every once in a while and actually contribute a little bit to June's lower HP pool, but in the end, his main intention is to farm here, and they can see him doing this. Dire Observer Ward in play, and just looking to keep that pressure on. The Mud Golems won't be affected, of course. Not yet, anyways. Soon enough, these Mud Golems, well, they will feel the pain, the searing heat of the magic. But right now, they're no fun. They are the anti-mages, the true anti-mages. Lycan getting some free time on the tower. That's very dangerous news for Tongfu.WZ. They'll go ahead and march it up quickly, and Tinker will clear out the creep wave, but they lose their glyph already, and I don't think that that's going to be off cooldown before this tower dies. 5 minutes on the clock for Lycan to take that tier 1 tower before that glyph refreshes for free. We're going to see Sansheng try to go for a smoke play here. A Telekinesis would have been a great opener for a kill on the Queen of Pain, but she's going to back off and be fine. And she's actually going to be building up herself a magic wand as well as building towards that Orchid. So, Seek looking to get some silence action out. Can just throw it out on the Tide in the fight, and as long as nobody breaks the Kraken Shell, he will stay silenced for and delay the Ravage. Oh, whoa, whoa. Tinker looking to steal some jungle camps on the Dire side. This is what I was talking about, guys, but Sansheng gets the upper hand, is able to blast down that Hawk and keep Tinker farming bottom. So this takes farm away from Sayaka. What I was saying is Xinkyu mostly is going to be farming the jungles and occasionally ganking the lanes, and that's going to lead the Lion to get that solo lane. And it's true, Lion does now have 16 last hits and 900 gold, but Xinkyu's route was disrupted a little bit by Rubik, and it's gold in the Tinker's pocket and efficiency taken out of the team as a whole as Lion doesn't get it. But that's okay. They're looking to push a little bit now. They've got the Roar at their back, so really confident in their damage output. And the fact that Rubik doesn't have Spell Steal gives them some real potential to push out down on this bottom tier 1. It will be at the cost of maybe Lycan pushing up top, but Lycan's actually roaming around the jungle right now with his Medallion Vlad's progression. So it's going to be, looks like 5-man down bottom. Lycan could easily be taking a tier 1 top right now, but he's jungling, and they're diving. They're going in, Finger of Death. They did the math, and Rubik will go down from that spell alone. So, now going in, looking at the tier 1, free glyph available, but that tower is still going to fall inevitably. In fact, I'm not sure why Tinker's even here. He maybe just came for the last hit on the tier 1 tower. We'll see who actually claims it, but up top, Lycan's finally, actually, no. Moose pushing in mid. The supports kind of doing their thing top. And Lycan denies the tower? Seriously? The Wolves are able to deny the tower at the last second there. Amazing play from Rabbit. I was kind of confused why Lycan was like sitting back here. Like, what is he doing down bottom at all? But he gets the chance. Do they see the Hawk? Yeah, they'll see the Hawk. And it will expire. But yeah, he gets the small window of opportunity. And with a last hit from a 50 some odd damage Wolf, he's able to, I guess that's 64 damage Wolf. He's able to deny the tower from all of Tongfu.WZ. That's pretty ridiculous. Now going to go into the pit. It's double smoke. Rubik helping out as best he can. It's a Feral Impulse build though, so it's mostly Lycan doing this damage. And he will take that Aegis pretty quickly. So pretty big win for them that they got in right when the Beastmaster Hawk was expiring and the Roche was not scouted out. Because they had a ward here, they had the Hawk flying across. Generally you feel like you have a pretty good idea of what's going on there on the map. But they smoke in, they find the right time, and they get the free Aegis. And that's going to help out a lot. As you can see, Newbee pulling ahead in these past couple of minutes, and it really comes down to the denial of the tower along with the Roshan. Mechanism up for Moo, so really good spot for them to start fighting, but for now, they'll farm it. They won't look to push just yet with this Aegis. Maybe 2 minutes from now, they're going to be being aggressive on that tier 1 tower, but for this particular moment, just clearing out these Ancients is going to be fine. June needed a little bit of help getting back on his feet, and that'll put him back on the map in a big way. Meantime, Banana, while the Lycan's been juggling and rotating bottom, Nyx Assassin gets to farm up his Blink. Shinkyu, though, killing off this Hill Troll Berserker and the Tomato and Potato.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So it's going to be kind of a river standoff here between these two sides, neither one really having that great of potential to initiate in full. But while the double damage rune is active, Yseek wants to do a little bit of hit to the tier 1 tower. Wow, that's the shortest blink I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he was just trying to disjoint, but it just looks really silly when you're like moving an inch when now it's 1300. So, just farming things up. The Hawk gonna scout things out. We're gonna see over on mid the TP in for the Nyx Assassin in Vendetta. No Radiant Sentries in play right now. Oh, he's walking into one, but he's gonna get hexed up immediately. DDR gonna get caught out. He's gonna be the first to fall with that Fissure stolen by Sansheng, and now they're gonna go with the Shapeshift. Try to make it happen. Rabbit can just right-click to win. He gets the crit, the lifesteal, and he will be able to TP home. So, Finger of Death, close call, but in the end, they're able to bring down the Lion, and June ticking down to the Shadow Strike, while Queen of Pain actually finds 2 more. Are you kidding me? Double kill here. She kills the Rubik and the Nyx with the same Sonic Wave. Caught the last dot tick of the tie, but had no idea she was going for more. Just hitting both of them with the ultimate perfectly, and down they go. Nyx and Rubik, again, under the Sentry Ward. The Vendetta doesn't mean much, and wow, that was a really good play from the Queen of Pain. Shinkyu has his Blink Dagger up. That was a very aggressive TP if he didn't, but he does. And he's just going to be bouncing around all over the place now. They don't really have like a clockwork or anything to pin him down. They're going to have to Carapace the March if they're going to be preventing him from doing his shenanigans. Another thing they don't have is clear vision mechanics, so when the Tinker blinks into the tree line, although the Nyx might be able to stop one of his BOTs, how do they actually get vision of him in the trees? And anti-Tinker wards obviously are a good option. The other thing would be if the Rubik is able to steal the Beastmaster's Hawk. That would be really good. Rabbit up top, going to be taking some hits here. Just kind of some suppressive fire. It's not going to be killing him off or anything, but it's trying to ward him off the tower so he doesn't get to go for another deny. And, yeah, cross paths with those March machines. So Ancient stacking not really coming out from the Radiant side whatsoever. Seems like the Beastmaster doesn't really look to fall back on that, even though the axes are almost maxed out and the Soul Ring Tranquils are available. They're just looking for kills right now, and they almost get Rabbit. They get the Hex, the right clicks. That last hit is going to come through from Bingo. No, the lifesteal almost doesn't bring him down, but the Aegis is traded for the Beastmaster's life, and that's going to be enough for them. Up top here, Tinker hiding in the trees. Again, no clear vision. That's the big deal. Is he's always safe if he's unobstructed in the trees, but once they get sight of him, he gets lifted up, and now he's gonna die. Yeah, he was fine here. He was absolutely fine, but he blinks over here for the rearm. This they cannot see. This they absolutely can. I don't know what that play was. Another thing you can do is kind of just chop down a bunch of trees. I mean, you've got a 5-second Quelling Blade. Every once in a while, just Rabbit start playing Lumberjack. He already looks like Hugh Jackman, so might as well. You guys are really all about that support Naga, huh? I really don't feel the Aghanim Scepter really opens up support Naga that much. It may be picked a little bit, but it is like less than 10% of games, probably less than 5%. Like, I'm sure we'll see it, but I don't think it's very good. Anywho, gonna be seeing the Orchid on the Queen of Pain very soon, but will it be soon enough? The Lycan's going to be building up towards Necro 3 very rapidly, and then he's going to be starting to pressure towers. The idea of the Orchid is to prevent the Lycan from shapeshifting out, to delay the Ravage in 5-on-5 engagements, and to enable kills on the squishier heroes like the Nyx and the Rubik. But in the end, timing is a very key aspect of the Orchid Malevolence, and I'm just not sure if it'll make the impact he's looking for. I mean, right now he's 4-0-0. He's been doing amazing work with this ultimate, but they kind of have this expectation of continuing to play that way, or the Lycan's going to be kind of giving them some difficulty. We're going to see a flank in here. Sansheng has March Machines of his own. Tough spell to land for the Rubik, though. Positioning is difficult for him at this stage in the game.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Bingo looking for a Midas. Pretty good pickup for him. Just going to be allowing him to go for a number of different items, as well as build up towards level 16.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are
Going to go ahead, fortify the tower, as well as TP the Tinker in, but he looks like he canceled it. Not sure if that was a mismanagement or other intentions, but either way, Glyph traded for Glyph as mid lane is being pressured pretty heavily, and actually it's going to be Banana looking for the Tinker here. Now we're going to see the tower go down, and actually, Lion all by himself, it's a solo Ravage though, they don't catch the Tinker, and now we're going to see the Queen of Pain jump in. Shapeshift can pursue, but it would be a very bad idea against the Tinker Quap, and it looks like it's just going to be a retreat from here. Queen of Pain looking for something, gets the Orchid, but he's already in Shapeshift, running and running and running and running, and boom. Connects. Oh my gosh, that blink! Are you kidding me, Queen of Pain, with the blink range? She chases so deep. She gets the kill, she trades her life for it. And on the back line here, we've got Tide in retreat. And that's about it, it looks like. Wow, that was ridiculous. June is actually going to die to March Machines, it looks like. He's just walking into it, and he takes it to the face. Roar coming out on Sansheng. March going the other way. Oh, man. They do bring down Bingo in the end, so Sansheng will survive. But that's only based on the mechanism from Mu. I think the Tide expected the mech to come out sooner from the Shadow Fiend there. Oh well. In the end, the Queen of Pain, Beastmaster, and Earthshaker are all killed off. The tower is killed down bottom and still holds in the mid lane for now at 164 HP. So, pretty ridiculous. I can't believe that Queen of Pain has such chase potential when she has that max blinked out. Like, that's a shapeshifted Lycan running around at over 600 movement speed, but... yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tinker just doing his thing. Nothing to really stop him. At this point, I think like Shiva's Guard is probably a pretty high priority, right? Like, you got to get that clear vision somehow. Shiva's is probably the best way to do it. So, I could imagine Tide looking for that pretty early on. He's got his Blink Dagger. I would say just rush to Shiva's Guard, because then you can actually use it to scout the tree line, blink on the right target, and get the disables you need onto him. Otherwise, March Machines is the only way you kill Tinker. And I mean, by that I mean Spike Carapace. On the march, in order to stun him, in order to catch him. It's just difficult. You can't kill what you can't see for the most part, and it's going to be a frustrating game for them if they don't address that fact very shortly. It's actually one of the reasons we see support Night Stalker picked up against Tinker towards for their mid to late game potential. They can go for the Aghanims on the Night Stalker and find an easy pick. Actually, speaking of easy picks, Tinker finds one on Banana here. He pops that Spike Carapace pretty early on in the fight, and now Queen of Pain looking to pursue. Wow, that Kraken Shell though. Shadow Strike completely removed, and he gets to blink away as a result. So, in the end, it's just a kill on the Nyx Assassin, but it's space created for Bingo to get that Hand of Midas and start building himself up towards a pretty good, solid core from this Beastmaster. Like right now, he's only at 4,400 net worth. I expect he'll be actually just below the Queen of Pain pretty soon, but Rabbit is going to be roared up, focused down, nice Ravage coming through, won't save the Lycan, but look at the damage coming out from Sansheng here. He steals so many good spells, the Earth Spike, the March Machines, and the Fisher. Now he's going to go ahead, and we're going to see YSeek jump in. 2 seconds left on the blink is not enough time. He's going to go down. YSeek so aggressive, diving tier 2s, going into 3 or 4 heroes. The Sonic Wave is nice, but doesn't make up for the fact that he's still pretty squishy with this Orchid. Orchid is not a tank item. It's not a man-up item. It's a isolate your target and kind of fight them in an unfair manner. Like, you go in and you're like, okay, well, I take a 1v1 engagement where you don't get any of your spells. It's just not fair. We're going to see Shinkyu go down here, though. Gets caught out by the Vendetta gank, and they need to keep making plays like this to make sure that this Tinker doesn't get big. But so far, so good. They've killed him twice now. Both pretty much very recently. So 4,200 net worth in favor of Newbee, and actually about 8k experience as well.
Money changes hands.
So Bloodstone comes out for the Tinker. Just going to be building up his charges, building up his mana pool, but the problem is he picked it up right before he went down in that last death, and that means he's down to 5 charges already. Definitely not the way you want to go with Tinker. Generally speaking for Tinker, you're looking to build up to a point where you can get an instant respawn, so that you can always get back into the fight with that rearmed BOTs. But no matter what, you get that mana pool, so you're able to keep spamming your abilities, but you really would love to get a amount of charges equal to your level. Here we see the quick pick, again, just finding a good Vendetta opening, knowing they have no Sentry Wards in this general area. So Banana finds his opening time and time again, and that's another free kill, and this time a free tower. So right now we have 2 tier 1s down for the Radiant side. Well, it will be in just a second here. The last hit going to the Radiant General. Oh wait, sorry. Just Shadow Fiend. I combined the Radiant structures have been fortified with Shadow Fiend destroyed the tower to say that Radiant destroyed their own tower, which is not the case. Cartier is not that imba. But yeah, no, Shadow Fiend gets the last hit on the tower. Now they go in for Roche, Medallion, Presence of the Dark Lord, and double damage rune. Oh my gosh. Goodbye, Mr. Roshan. I'm sorry about your -6 armor. Hope you forgive us. He's gone. Aegis in hands of Mu. And yeah, at this point, he's got a BKB, 10 seconds, Blink, Mech, and Aegis. Mu is large and in charge in this game here. If they can just break the Tinker, they can take down any tower they want. And he even gets to deny on their own tier 1. The board's not able to snipe it in the end. We are going to see a Ravage committed just to bring down the Queen of Pain, but it almost seems worth it just because you're really killing her momentum. Like, she's looking to snowball with this Orchid, and then she dies 3 times in a row. It's just, it's not good. It's really not good. They rotated those heroes up pretty quickly, too. Like, I think that the way the Queen of Pain read that situation, she said, okay, well, they just did Roche. They're now doing stuff farming around mid. I can make a play. I have this Hawk giving me some good vision in general. So he thought he had the intel he needed to make a solo kill play. And then those 2 TPs came out really early up on the top lane. Now Lycan looking for the shapeshift play. Tinker going to be able to just BOT home. Necros pop, though. They got to do something with them. So let's see these towers drop Shinkyu into the jungle. He is just using that March Machine and repelling the push. This is really frustrating for Lycan. Like, they have to address this Tinker. If this Tinker is able to get any bigger, then they're just never going to be able to push. He's going to have too much mana to spam out. He's going to have maybe a Ghost Scepter to help him out against a lot of these big right clicks. I don't know. It's a rough game to go up against this Tinker, and they need to Get something out. Is he going for Shivas? No, he's going for a straight refresher. I've seen this from June. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This build's... yeah, I mean, it can be very beneficial to have that double Ravage, but yeah, I'm worried that he won't be able to do enough in the other fights. The fights where he has the refresher, of course, he's going to be extremely dominant. But I am worried that there will be fights where he'll have the refresher on cooldown, or he won't have mana to work with, and it'll be a pretty weak engage there. Camera goes crazy as Shinkyu is being pursued. And it looks like they'll be able to bring him down. I mean, they've got the Earnest Shadow charges. He's not going to be able to blink away. Might be able to queue it up quick. Nope, he does get the blink. Oh, wow, that is such a... just Dota 2 things. In Dota 1... when your blink dagger is broken, it puts a little circle slash, a little red, no, you can't do anything with this item type symbol on top of it, and it just breaks it, and it says your blink dagger is broken. In Dota 2, it puts it on cooldown for 3 seconds, which, with a special ultimate, can be brought down to 0. So we've seen refresher blinks out of combat scenarios, and we've seen rearm blinks quite a bit. So, fact of the matter is, Tinker gets to rearm the blink despite an Earnest Shadows on top of him, and he is able to get out of a tough spot. Looking at overall farm, we've got 200 last hits on the Tinker, 187 to 178 on the 2 cores of Newbee. And what this nets overall is a gold advantage of about 8k for Newbee, pretty much exactly where we were earlier. Just minor points of progression, kind of a step function here as they take objectives here and there, a tower or a Rax, but looks like they won't really be able to use this Aegis. 2 minutes left on it. They don't really have full intentions of like all-out pushing tier 2s right now. They might take the tier 1 top at the least, though. They're making their way there. Hawk gonna scout out their movements, though. Boar frustrating the blink dagger intentions, and Moo going in already. He's got a suddenly Yule Scepter coming out for the SF. I was just talking about all these other items, and he adds on one more. Now he has his full core, has all the potential to initiate fights with that blink BKB and Yule Scepter, and then of course he has the mechanism to follow through with it, and that second life for now. He really does need to start transitioning into right-click items, though. I don't know if he goes for the AC or something different. I've even seen some, like, I've seen Sumail, for example, go for a Refresher Orb on Shadow Fiend for this kind of build, and just get the double Requiem and all these other initiation tools the second time around. So, I'm not sure if that's something that would be considered, but in this case, at the very least, he's looking really good at this point in the game. I'm just wondering where he goes from here. At 28 minutes... he's pretty much got his full build for this kind of initiation in Shadow Fiend. He can go one more item, whatever it may be. And it could be a right-click item, it could be more utility, a Shiva's Guard or a Refresher, I'm not too sure. Ace, like I said, AC could be good, but Lycan usually picks it up. We'll see who feels they have the farm to do what. Yes. Looking for a solo kill, bingo, no Necro, no gem, and there's an easy kill. So they go ahead, they steal the boar. They don't get both, though. That's a shame. No Call of the Wild Hawk. You only get the boar, and therefore you don't get to scout out Tinker with that spell steal.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So, and that's something that Beastmaster can do to help out his Tinker here, is if he's up against a Rubik, just always cover your Hawk. If you summon your Hawk and then, oh, banana. Banana, banana, banana. Nom 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 nom. Delicious. Now they're gonna blink forward though. Sayaka should go down. They don't. They hit with the Anchor Smash. Okay. So, but yeah, in this situation, the Beastmaster, the cast animation of Call the Wild Hawk and Boar is very, very short. Each one of them is like 0.15 seconds or something like that. They used to have a longer animation, but you summon both. Now you have shorter animations and you summon them each individually. So the idea is, as soon as you summon the Hawk, you summon the Boar as well. And since they share the same cooldown, you can always do that. And that means the Rubik can't spell steal the Hawk. That means they can't find the Tinker. And you can keep on sneaking around. Actually, the first Shiva's Guard in this game is actually not going to be on the Dire side at all. It's going to be the Tinker himself to pick up the Shivas. And Sansheng to initiate onto Y-Seek. Ravage committed to try to bring him down. Scream against him and don't even need the raise. Good pick off there. And Queen of Pain just really has found a hard game for herself. Like, she started off really strong. She was 4-0, and now she's 5-4 after buying the Orchid. So she rushes out the BKB immediately after, but still feeling a little bit behind. If they could if they had vision on Tinker, oh, they do. He cancels it. He's just playing games with them. But if they had vision on Tinker, yeah, you'd see the Carapace play come out. But as it is, they're just going to look for another target. They could Carapace now, and it will work to stun out Shinkyu, but he thinks he's in those trees, and instead, he's getting lasered. Oh, no finger available. The heat-seeking missile not doing enough damage, and it's going to be the Fisher to at least allow the Tinker to get out. Mu will kill off the Beastmaster in the meantime, and they do bring down the Lion as well. So let's check out that Beastmaster here. I think it's just a Yule's Requiem, and there you go. 1,237 damage. Yule's Requiem combo from Mu. So, finding the pickoffs left, right, and center. And it's only really the Tinker that's keeping them in this game. He is the one that's still kind of allowing them to be involved because of just the innate advantage he has in this draft. But he can only, I feel like he can only delay this game. Eventually, Newbee are going to get so many kills, so much farm. They're all going to be 6-slotted. And although Tinker will be frustrating to them, his march is still static damage. It doesn't scale beyond what you see here. So he's going to have to go into something big. Shivas for now, but we're talking Dagons, Ethereal Blades, Hexes, all that good stuff very soon. Scotty going to be coming out for Mu. That's his kind of mix of the two, like that I was talking about. I was talking about like a fork in the road kind of mentality where you can either go hardcore utility items that don't do any damage, or you can go for hardcore damage items that don't bring any more utility. He goes and says, screw that, I'm going to go for the all-around awesome item, the Eye of Scotty, and that gives him the extra tank, extra damage. He's able to get that slow. Like, I mean, he's just really, overall, has a really good build in mind here. He's going to end up selling the mechanism and the treads, upgrade those, but DDR getting caught out here. Earthshaker, one hit from death. Banana gets the poke. And Shinkyu now trying to punish him, but that Carapace, he's going to make that very, very difficult. Finger Death connects, and they'll blink forward with the laser. I saw the blink coming. I did not actually realize that Lion had his completed. So here, 32 minutes in, it's not too surprising, though. And it looks like they're going to be able to control the map a little bit better as a result. I'm going to see Yule's Requiem come out onto the Queen of Pain. She pops the BKB instead. She tries to trade hits, but she doesn't do damage. With that Requiem against her and the Scotty, reducing her attack speed, the BKB, it allows her to survive, but is not going to allow her to turn and fight. And actually Shinkyu, oh my gosh, into the trees, doing so much work. He's avoiding the lift. The telekinesis would be his death. One stun comes out on him, he's screwed, but he just plays around them so beautifully, it doesn't matter. He actually is able to do a lot of damage on the back line, but it's Mu that gets the kills on the front. We see the Blink Ravage onto 2. Shinkyu's the target. The double Ravage coming through. Shinkyu is caught out. He can't get away, and he will Bloodstone Suicide. Now Queen of Pain. Sonic waving people down. Everybody at around 20% HP, but she can't finish the job. Everybody survives. Mu's mech back up at 20. Blink Echo, is it available? No. Blink Dagger. If there was a Blink on DDR, oh my gosh, he could just wipe them out. But instead, the damage is done. They'll heal themselves back up with Mu's mechanism. They'll take this tier 2 tower. And it looks like they're confident to go even up to the high ground here. DDR with the Fisher out, but again, Mu with the mech. It looks like that's where they'll draw the line. So, great fight. Double Ravage used. Newbee take that handily. And Roshan is up, so they can make their move that direction. Haven't seen that much Hawk play coming in from the Beastmaster. Maybe he needs to keep spamming those out. Maybe get the Tinker into the dire jungle a little bit. He's mostly been teleporting on creep waves recently, as you see here. Banana's always going to be lurking up top, looking to play anti-Tinker with the Spike Carapace. And that's all well and good, but the more important thing is that the Aegis and Cheese goes to Newbee. We do see Aegis going to Mu as he drops the mechanism, and the Lycan, of course, will be looking for that Cheese. At this point, though, his BKB is down to 9 seconds, and Mu, he's down to 8. So, 20,000 net worth advantage, 25,000 for Newbee. And they still have the Sonic Wave for a little while. It's not agged up, so they don't get the 40-second cooldown. I guess neither side does, but still, they have it whenever Queen of Pain does, and that's a good thing to keep track of. Bingo's Ags is complete, coming out in the courier now, and that's going to allow him to have just a little bit better ways to deal with all this initiation. They can Roar the Tide, Roar the Lycan or the Shadow Fiend, and it has longer range, so he's at less risk. He's tankier as a result of the stats, and it's going to be that 45-second cooldown. So essentially, if they can engage in a fight with the Roar, then use the March Machines and Fishers to delay the high ground push, they can get a second Roar for the second skirmish. But There's going to be a pick off here. Essentially just Earthshaker all out on his own, looking for blink daggers in all the wrong places. He goes down. Tinker doing his thing, going right back to the lane and going for the next wave. Hawk is here, so he feels really confident with all this vision. 2 heroes to back him up, smoked up behind, trying to bait the Tinker, looking for the... I was going to say Nyx, but they have no detection. Nyx could easily break that smoke, and then they wouldn't have anything, but it looks like no matter what, Newbee are just going to kind of go do their own thing. Tier 2 finally falls for Shinkyu. Shiva's and... Shiva's a march, and Shiva's a march, and Shiva's a march. Keeps on going on. But as time transpires, we do see the push down bottom. 20 seconds left on this Ravage CD. Really big deal, as we saw how palpable it was in that one last fight. And a Rabbit, only with cheese, is doing some damage to the tier 3. Not much, but he's there. YC trying to do some more, and actually, you look at it, the tower damage trade is much favoring Tongfu. That is 800 damage for free, and barely anything on this bottom tier 3 tower. Oh, that's what the Earthshaker was doing. He wasn't looking for blink daggers. He was looking to D-ward, but we're actually going to see a pickoff here, and it's not a suicide this time. June is able to go in, and they were able to get the blink 4-staff play for Sansheng to lift up the the Tinker, and as a result, they get the kill. Oh, it is Ravage. She just refreshed it immediately. Okay, so they Ravaged, and they used the stolen Sonic Wave to bring him down. So not just a lift, but the blink Ravage as well. And they can 4-step down the trees he's in to try to bring him down. In this case, he looked like he was in the open battlefield, though, and that was just a really quick and smart play. Only problem is, killing the Tinker, you usually are like, hey, yeah, we can push high ground now. Well, not only is the Bloodstone bringing him back up in just 20 seconds, but they're also without a second Ravage for 150. That's about the same time we're looking at here for the Aegis. So, Mu can start pushing in and try to use that second life. He just got roared there. But there's no time period where there's a double Ravage and an Aegis on Mu. One of those is going to expire before the other comes to light. So, we're going to be seeing just kind of delay game strats from Tongfu.WZ. And what is Tinker building next is the real question. He's got 3,300 gold. Ethereal Blade sounds pretty good. Dagon not too bad. I could see a BKB, possibly. Just if he wants to avoid all the crap that's being thrown at him right now. Spike Carapace, Ravage, that kind of stuff. But Dagon, E-Blade, BKB, that's probably my top 3. This doesn't feel like much of a Hex game while they're still at 7 seconds at least. I think Rabbit's still at 9? Yeah, 9 seconds for Rabbit's BKB. So they're going to have the cheese. They're also going to have 5,200 gold. Who's going to go for the Assault Cuirass, though, is my question. AC, pretty big item for the Siege for Newbee. They really want this item on their side, but both the Shadow Fiend and the Lycan are pretty good AC holders. Ooh, Mu being chased down by Shinkyu. Has to watch himself. But yeah, who knows? So we're actually going to see them bait out the TP in from Tinker, and man, he wishes he had a BKB now, as he's just going to get absolutely destroyed. He will get time to pop the suicide, but that's about all he's got going for him. Rearm stolen by Rubik, but not really the best spell for him. He doesn't have any active items other than his mobility tools, and he doesn't have the mana pool to support it whatsoever. So at most, he rearms his blink telekinesis once. That's pretty much the maximum potential there. And the Lycan will not be going for that AC. It's going to be the harder task for him. So he's going to be, I guess, dropping the medallion, picking up that extra HP pool from 2,300 up to suddenly 3,450. Looking good. But with Tinker down, this is an opportunity to push, and they do have Ravage Refresh, or coming off cooldown soon. But Tinker's going to buy back. They're not going to back off until they start taking some damage from the March and the Shivas. But I think they'll take the tier 3 and walk. June, refreshing. They want to hold. They want to go. This is weird because the Tinker's up. Generally speaking, the base is unassailable, but June just refreshed. That implies that he really wants to fight now, because otherwise he would have just waited for his Ravage to cool down and have both. I think that's just a misplay from June. Like, they can't actually break down further than just the tier 3 after that buyback. The March just continuously pushing in the waves. So instead of waiting out the maybe 110 seconds on that Ravage, he goes ahead and pops his 195 on the Refresher. So I feel like they kind of have to take a fight soon. in order to make that worth it, or be very, very patient and not let it get to them. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I got distracted from a quick message there, but now we have the Ravage coming out. So Lion going down first. BKB is popped from both sides, and a nice stun on the Tinker here via Carapace. So it's going to be the blink away from the Queen of Pain. She's very quick. It's just going to be the crits to bring down the Earthshaker. And we'll see why Seek probably blink away from here. He's so mobile, so fast, and the Shapeshift does end. So it's just a double kill, and despite all the cooldowns used, that was actually a pretty weak engagement as far as kill count goes. I mean, the Tinker gets away no problem. If he was outside the trees, that'd be different, but again, no clear vision. So, actually, not too hot and heavy there.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
We're going to see the Radiant Tier 2 tower go down bottom. Sheen Q going to pick that one up and look for his Scythe of Ice. So it is going to be a Hex game for him. As these BKBs whittle down, it becomes much more valuable of a pickup. Otherwise, your only way to open it is actually to Hex at the beginning. But oh, that gem of True Sight. Almost going down. Moon needs a raise. Oh, he pops the BKB, but he leaves the gem. Oh, he's in such a dangerous spot. He needs the BOT now. Oh, it's too late. He's going to get caught up by all these magical nukes. The reinforcements aren't coming out in time. Moo will go down. And now YC can just blink into the trees. Get away from that melee hero and you're fine. Do they get the gem though? The courier. Little Mr. Snowell looking for it. But it was already picked up by Sayaka. He got in there in time. So all in all, exhausting the Sonic Wave, the Requiem, makes it a 1-for-1, but the Shadow Fiend being the more critical kill. This wastes his life as well as a lot of his time. He actually has to farm back up those 36 souls. He's now down to his BKB 6. Just not the easiest thing. He did go for a Liquid Sphere though, which is I find really interesting. It's good at stopping chain hexes. I really like that aspect, where essentially Tinker goes for the hex on somebody once, and then immediately Shadow Fiend's like, no more of that, and he actually gives Liquid Sphere to the pig, so that he no longer gets hexed, and that's pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, it stops blink hex play. It makes whoever is afflicted by that Lincoln's a little bit tankier and more survivable because there's no spells to lock them down. But as a whole, I don't think this is really that great, since at this point in the game, SF should be kind of transitioning into a carry. Like, he's been playing a mid-utility hero for the first 30 minutes of the game, and then he kind of transitioned into some more damage with the Scotty pickup. But going back for this Liquid Sphere is just full-on utility, and I mean, I know the Beast, it's really good against the Beastmaster Roar. I mean, you don't need to tell me twice, but the way that I look at it is that if the Beastmaster just waits out the BKB on the Lincoln's target, or just roars the other guy, then it's not going to be all that effectual. Nick Assassin going to be going down here as Sayaka also gets picked off. Finger of Death stolen the other way. Now YC in an interesting spot. And it looks like he'll just be able to blink out. But yeah, just placing the Radiant Observer Ward here. The clash is forced. Nyx goes down pretty quickly, thanks to the gem that they did have on the Lion. But immediately after that, fed away to the Dire side. So I guess that Nyx walked up with Vendetta. The Lion saw him with the gem and was able to chain stun him and kill him with Finger of Death. But then they lose the gem, and that's the bigger deal. Support for a support, but a gem in the hands of the Dire. And they're making this a difficult game. $25,000 net worth in the hands of Newbee. 30,000 experience. Gonna go for the Roche pretty soon. That's actually near maximum timer. We're talking out of the 3-minute potential time window, that's a 2-minute 20-second spawn, and we are gonna be looking at them picking it up as soon as they can. But we do have double Ravage on June. The big pickup though, Shinkyu with the Hex. So yeah, I think the move's not even using the Lincolns on the Lycanthrope, so essentially the Beastmaster just has to look for the bubble on Lycan. If he doesn't see it, then he can just always roar the Lycan. Otherwise, he has to wait for the 5-second BKB to expire on Moo, and then have somebody pop that Lincolns. In the end, though, we're going to see Aegis go to the Shadow Fiend Cheese, held by the supports, and we'll see what he can do with it. I think this is a really good chance for them to push into the base, but against Tinker, that's always up in the air. Queen of Pain trying to hide behind enemy lines so they can bait the Tinker a little bit. They really want to get this kill. This would be a perfect time to kill Tinker in this game. Having just gotten Aegis and Cheese looking to push. The Spike Carapace will stun Shinkyu, but they don't have a way to pursue into the tree line. And in fact, it's going to be Sayaka and YSeek digging a tunnel and looking for this like surprise attack 3v5 engagement. Do they have POTs on anyone other than the Tinker, obviously? No. So the Earthshaker, the Beastmaster have no way of getting to that fight, and in fact, Earthshaker looks to be caught out here. Sansheng, there's a nice blink, but he still gets caught out. The Finger of Death brings him down quick. Tinker jumping in, gets the Hex out quickly overhead, and that's a nice shift Q, but it's not going to stop them from looking to push. I mean, they just killed the Earthshaker, one of the big turtle heroes in this position, but Mu up top, BKB, oh, he blinks out so damn fast. Mu with the fast fingers, really showing why he is one of mechanically the best players in Chinese Dota. He impresses me so much every time he plays mid, but here he shows that he is just a baller when it comes down to the ninja reflexes. Now, going to see that Roar come out pretty early on to Rabbit here. Going to see the melee rack fall as well. Now kind of looking to commit to the fight. They've got the double Ravage. They want to use it, but Sayaka is sitting here nice at half HP. Going in, Tinker blinks back out. They're popping some hexes, but they're not really gaining any traction in this fight. They've already lost 2 here. Buyback on Queen of Pain. I think she's got to use it. I think they have to force the buyback, but June with Ravage number 1 gonna hit all 3. Ravage number 2 as well. That's the game breaker here. Queen of Pain buying back, but she can't do anything. Shinkyu's down for the count. It's an ultra kill for Mu. June with the back breaking Ravage plays. Oh my gosh, that was just incredible. Now the tier 3 goes down. The rack's gonna fall. Newbee, they're back, baby. They're feeling really good in this series here. Taking game 1 over Tongfu.WZ. Just convincingly. At no point were they falling behind in this game. It was just a matter of dealing with that darn Tinker and his global presence. But eventually they just get so many items it doesn't even matter, and when they go in for the throne, they make it happen in a big way. So really good conclusion for the game here for Newbee. They're able to close it out with a 14-1-6 Shadowfiend. And Tide just doing what he needs to do with Shiva's Refresher. Really good play from Newbee as a whole. Looking forward to see how they perform in the next game. Tongfu.WZ exhausting their Tinker strat, not getting enough done with it. We'll see if they can go for something else with more of a carry in their lineup coming into game 2. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in to Beyond the Summit here for our coverage of iLeague's Chinese qualifiers. Happy to be able to bring you guys these games here. I am Blaze. You can look me up on twitter.com/blazecasting. And of course, check out beyondthesummit.tv, their coverage hub for all their tournaments they're covering. So that is stuff like, obviously Starletter has concluded, but we still have Summit on the way. iLeague for now, Esportal, that kind of stuff. If you're enjoying the cast from myself or any of the other guys at the studio, look us up there. Anyways, that's going to be it for Game 1. We're going to be going into Game 2 pretty quickly for Newbee versus Tongfu.WZ, Game 2 of a best of 2. Now, one thing to note is 6.84 is pretty well upon us, and I am having a lot of fun theory crafting with you guys in the chat. So if you do have any questions about my opinions of 6.84, if you have any builds you want to run by me, just type in @blazecasting in your Twitch message, and I'll try to respond in the short break that we do have. Otherwise, if I don't get to it, you can always tweet it at me @blazecasting. Anyways, it's fun to jump into 6.84, but we're still here in 6.83, and Newbee looking pretty good.